Did you think building a drone business would be easy? I certainly did. Now, over the last decade and a half, I've built and sold 2 7-figure drone businesses, and I've trained more than 66,500 drone pilots. But it was an absolute grind. I wish I'd known how to do it smarter and faster without wasting the first 10 years learning how to build something that could scale. So, to help get you ahead of the competition, here are 20 of the biggest lessons that I've learned over the last 15 years in the drone industry that will accelerate your path to success and help you become a full-time drone pilot as quickly as possible. First up, lesson number 1. I kept hitting the same wall over and over whilst trying to grow my drone business. I was overwhelmed, working crazy hours, and we weren't growing how we needed to so I could pay the bills. I thought the problem was the business and blamed everything, the market for being oversaturated, our timing in joining the market, but the problem was actually me. So I invested in myself. I hired a coach and started working on my own mindset and habits. Within 12 weeks, I was sharper, calmer, and at least 10 times more productive. The business didn't suddenly change. I did. And everything else followed. Like puzzle pieces falling into place, I got clarity on what needed to be done to achieve our goals. I developed our processes, made things way more efficient, and built a business pipeline that actually worked. And guess what? Over the next 12 months, our revenue tripled, and I eventually managed to successfully exit the business for a life-changing amount of money from our family and I. So lesson number 1 is to work on yourself before you try to build your business, because if you're the bottleneck, nothing else will flow. Your business will only grow as far as you're willing to. So start learning about yourself today. Be brutally honest with yourself. Look at where your weaknesses lie and stop avoiding them. Then on the other side of the coin, look at what your superpowers are and lean into those hard. Next up then, lesson number 2. When I first started out, I was juggling a full-time job in the military with trying to build the drone business on evenings and weekends. I was working insane hours, getting very little sleep, juggling a newborn baby. I was working my ass off, and it still felt like I was getting nowhere. But I kept showing up. I kept pushing, and I didn't let those nagging doubts derail my plans. I was determined to create something successful that would change my family's future for the better. Every single spare hour that I had went into client outreach, learning, practicing, pitching, even when it felt soul destroying. And then eventually the inquiries started coming in. The leads started landing in my inbox, and people were actually interested in hiring me to fly for them. 1 client turned into 3, and before I knew it, I was making real money flying drones in my spare time. Lesson number 2 is that building a successful business takes way longer than you think. But maybe that's the point. Most people just quit before it starts to work. You need to stick with it even when it feels like it's not working, because if you do things the right way, you will start to make progress. It's how you face the challenges and get through those moments of self-doubt that shapes your business journey, and if I'm honest, is the line between amateur and professional. Now we're moving into lesson number 3. When I first got started, the dream was flying drones every day, camera in the sky, cash rolling into the bank, and I imagined spending the holidays with my family on a luxury yacht in Monaco supping champagne. After all, drone pilots can earn millions, right? But in no time at all, I realised that the flying was actually the easy bit, and honestly, the smallest part of the job. Most of my time was spent replying to inquiries, trying to get the word out about the business, writing proposals, sorting edits, chasing payments and updating clients. It was pretty relentless. But again, I stuck with it. And once I realised we needed them, kept improving our processes and building the systems we needed so that we could grow without letting clients down and making ourselves look stupid. Eventually, we had so many leads coming in that I had to take on staff and had to start handing jobs to other drone pilots. I couldn't fly them all. The demand we generated outgrew me. And that's when I realised I hadn't built a drone business, I'd built a real company. One that was paying other people's mortgages and making a real difference in our small piece of the world. Lesson number 3 is that flying the drone is the reward, not the job. If you want consistency, stability and income, focus on building a big business that runs even when you're not in the air and that can still generate and capture leads and inquiries for you when you are out flying. Otherwise, what will happen is that your pipeline will dry up and you'll always be in a very stressful feast and famine cycle. Moving on now to lesson number 4 then. When I first saw drone pilots charging £650 a day or more to fly, I thought I'd cracked the code. I figured I could just fly a couple of days a week, match my full-time salary and spend the rest of the week chilling with my newborn son, and then if I could book more flying days, I'd be on that yacht in Monaco sipping champagne next summer for sure. But as you can imagine, that illusion didn't last long. After landing a few jobs, I realised that one flying day actually meant 5 days of preparation, emails and calls to turn an inquiry into a lead, convert that lead into a customer, draft a proposal, complete the planning paperwork, fly, do the editing, deliver the data, complete the invoicing, chase for payment for the next 90 days, rinse and repeat. You know the score. I wasn't just flying 2 days a week, I was grinding every spare moment I had 7 days a week. And I wasn't getting paid for more than half of it. This wasn't a scalable get-rich side hustle anymore. It was a real business with real moving parts and real commitments. It needed tending to so that it could grow. And without any systems or support in place, it felt impossible at times. Lesson number 4 is that £650 a day means nothing without a system behind it. You can't skip the foundations behind the business that allow you to get out and do those paid for flying days. If you want profit and peace of mind, your business needs back-end structure from day one. Without this, you'll quickly become overwhelmed, you'll not be able to scale, and you'll be working harder than you ever have, but wondering why you're still not able to pay the bills at the end of the month. Next up is lesson number 5. Over the years, I've seen thousands of people chasing the same dream and going down the exact same path. Buy a drone, get the certificate that you need to be able to fly, spend a bunch of money on a slick-looking website, and quit the job thinking that the money will just start rolling in. I've then seen most of these people fall flat on their face within a matter of months, burned out, broken, bitter, cursing the drone industry for being too saturated, and asking me if I know anyone who'll buy their almost unused drone from them so that they can try to get some of their money back. The truth is, this game takes time, patience, and strategy. But this isn't a challenge that's unique to the drone industry. It's the same for any business. Business is hard. If it was easy, everyone would be sending rockets to Mars and sipping champagne on that private yacht. So if you are serious about going full-time, I'd strongly suggest that you make sure your drone business is already covering the bills before you leave your 9 to 5. That's what I did, and even then it was risky and tough. I built the business up slowly, working insane hours, making sacrifices. But when the time came to go all in, I wasn't guessing. I knew that I was ready, and I already had a solution for my ideal customer, which I knew that they would pay me for. Lesson number 5 is that patience isn't optional. It's your safety net. Don't jump unless you've proven that the parachute works. And if that sounds like too much effort, keep your drone flying as a hobby and pick up some overtime at work instead. Okay, on to lesson number 6 then. When I started out, I didn't have a CRM, a customer relationship management system. I didn't actually have any systems or processes at all. In fact, if I'm being brutally honest with you, I didn't even know what a CRM was when I first started out. We ran everything out of a black book, literally. And to make matters even worse, it wasn't even my black book. It was my first employee's. She answered every call. She spoke to every customer and tracked every single lead we had in her own notebook. And it worked great, right up until the point that it didn't. And she went on holiday and everything fell apart. We lost leads, we missed calls, we forgot follow-ups, and to be honest, looked completely unprofessional. And that was the wake-up call. We couldn't grow without structure. We needed systems or we'd stall. We couldn't really rely on people and their own processes anymore because we got too big. I needed to get a grip of the business and make sure that there was one centralized place where we managed all our contacts, one place that we used to manage all of our appointments, and a system in place to ensure things didn't slip through the net. We needed something to make sure that we didn't let people, or ourselves, to be honest, down. So lesson number 6 is that your business is only as strong as the systems behind it. If your business lives in one person's head or one person's notebook, it's not really a business, it's a liability. And if you don't have these systems in place, make it a priority, please, to get them up and running as soon as you can. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, drop your questions in the comments down below. I'm making this content for you, so if I can answer your questions that you've got rather than the ones I think you've got, it's a win-win for everybody. Okay, now we're on to lesson number 7. When we first started out, we said yes to everything. Inspections, sure. Real estate, you got it. Aerial footage of your dog's birthday party, why not? We thought that the more services we offered, the more money we'd make. But instead, we just confused people and we stretched ourselves too thin. Sure, we were busy, but we weren't busy doing work that we wanted to do, or, truth be told, work that paid us as much as we wanted or needed to make. Eventually, we took a step back and asked, who do we actually want to serve? What specific problem did they have, our ideal customer have, that we can solve better than anyone else? What value can we add that they'll be willing to and able to pay for again and again? Once we got clear on our ideal client, everything changed. Our marketing got easier, our conversions went up, we became known for one thing and we nailed it. We became the experts in that one thing, which meant we could start to charge more and more money for our solution because our reputation preceded us. And people knew that if they hired us, we'd always deliver. That's when we started to scale and became truly profitable. Lesson number 7 then is to stop trying to be everything to everyone. Pick a niche, solve a real problem, and build your offer around that problem. You can always expand later, but start narrow and get great, or you'll stay broke forever. Moving on now then to lesson number 8. When I started the business, I thought I could figure the numbers out as I went. Bringing money in and putting it in the bank was the only thing I was really interested in when it came to accounting. I had no idea how much I needed to set aside for things like tax, no clue what counted as an expense, and definitely no idea that buying the wrong thing at the wrong time could bite me in the arse later. I carried on blindly, and when I filed my first year's accounts, it was absolute chaos. The tax bill was massive, I hadn't planned for it, and it nearly wiped us out. It was one of those moments where I genuinely thought I might lose the business. That's when I realised a good accountant isn't a nice to have, they are absolutely essential. So I got one on board as quickly as I could and turned things around fast. They helped us plan properly, make smarter decisions, and avoid those blind spots that nearly killed the company at the end of year 1. Lesson number 8 is that a good accountant is worth their weight in gold. Don't treat them like a cost, which can be really hard to do when you're just starting out and might be spending your own money on their services. Instead, treat them like insurance for your own sanity and get them involved before you think you need them. Or you'll learn the hard way like I did. Now for lesson number 9. Just like I didn't really know that I needed an accountant, I didn't really take insurance seriously when we first started out either. I figured it was kind of like car insurance. Get something as cheap as possible just to tick the box and move on. What could possibly go wrong? But after hearing a couple of horror stories from within the industry and having a close call on a big job ourselves, I realised that the security blanket of adequate insurance meant I could start sleeping at night again. So I found a broker who specialised in cover for drone businesses, not just for the flying element, but also for equipment cover, for legal costs and other business liabilities. We found a specialist who knew what cover we actually needed, and more importantly, what gaps would leave us exposed, and we worked with them to get protected. That decision saved us more than once, from client complaints and to near misses to having the right cover meant that we could keep operating without panic or worry regardless. And it gave us credibility with bigger clients too, because they could see that we were running things properly. We were taking into account things that other people weren't anticipating or expecting, and that meant that we stood out to them. So lesson number 9 is to invest in proper insurance before you need it. This isn't about ticking a box. It's about protecting everything that you're working so hard to build, because all it takes is one incident or one mistake to wipe everything out. Do not look at insurance as a cost. Look at it as an investment, easy for me to say, in your future if ever you need to use it. Now we're moving on to lesson number 10. Once we were up and running, we made money very quickly in the early days, and I thought I was being smart by reinvesting that cash straight into buying more gear. New drones, extra sensors, backup, spares. We needed the equipment to do the jobs, right? So I bought everything outright. No leases, no finance, just cash. It felt like the sensible way to grow, especially as I always try to avoid buying things I can't afford. I know that credit can be a useful tool, but I always try and stay away from it unless we really need it. However, before long, this naive way of using money as a tool in my business bit back. We had all the gear, but because I was continually investing our working capital, we weren't able to take advantage of expansion opportunities that presented themselves. We couldn't make certain strategic moves that would have accelerated our business growth. We had all the gear that anyone could want, but we didn't have cash on hand to market, to advertise, to expand. We were burdened by depreciating assets that were bogging down our balance sheet. Looking back now, I should have financed the gear and used the cash flow to scale the business. That one shift would have left us be able to grow orders of magnitude faster. It would have allowed us to hire sooner and protect our business runway. Sure, we made it through, but it was a tough and expensive lesson to learn. So, lesson number 10 is to speak to your accountant before you start buying gear. What feels safe might actually be slowing you down, and sometimes smart financing is what separates the hustlers from the true business owners. Next up then is lesson number 11. When I first started out, I'm kind of embarrassed to say that I had zero idea what marketing actually was. I certainly didn't understand the difference between marketing and advertising, and honestly, I didn't really care. I figured if we did good work, people would just find us and we'd grow organically. But the inquiries didn't come in as quickly as we needed them to. So I started digging. Books, videos, courses, mentors, anything I could find on how to get attention, build trust, and convert that into business. And once it clicked, I went all in. I realised that learning how to market was actually the most powerful tool in my entire business arsenal, especially with the reach that is available to all of us now thanks to the power of the interwebs. If there's one thing that I can encourage you to do from this whole video, it's this. Learn everything you can about content marketing. Learn everything you can about getting people to know, like, and trust you. And whenever you have a spare 10 minutes, implement. Raise your authority in the eyes of your ideal client, and you'll reap the reward for years to come. When I did this myself, everything changed. Leads started flowing, sales got easier, and now the marketing plan and the marketing machine are the very first things I build every time I launch something new. Before the product, before the team, before the logo even, I always sit down and work out the marketing strategy first. Lesson number 11 is that traffic now is the lifeblood of modern business. If no one sees what you do, it doesn't matter how good you are. Marketing isn't a bonus or a nice to have, it's the engine. Learn it, master it, and everything else gets easier. Next up is lesson number 12. We wasted tens, if not hundreds of thousands of pounds on advertising in the early days of our business. We didn't have a clear niche. We hadn't chosen an ideal client. We hadn't defined an offer for that ideal client. So we had no messaging that actually resonated. We just boosted posts, ran ads, and hoped that it would bring the leads in. But in reality, it didn't bring in anything close to what we wanted or needed, because we didn't know who we were targeting, what we were offering them, or why they should even care about us and what we could do to help them. We were basically throwing money into a huge black hole, which was shaped very much like Zuckerberg's yacht in Monaco, and hoping that someone somewhere would bite. Once we realised what we were doing wrong, we stopped. We reassessed. We realised we didn't need to spend anything until we'd nailed our core offer, until we'd nailed our messaging and our positioning. We only started advertising again once we knew who we were selling to, what we were selling them, and why they should choose us. Then, when we did advertise, every pound, every penny had a purpose. And we were able to track the ROI, the return on investment, of every advertising campaign we ran. Until we know the answers to these core business questions, we focus on organic marketing, referrals, content, and building actual demand. Lesson number 12 is that advertising will multiply what you already have, not fix what you don't. If you don't know who you're selling to, if your offer isn't dialed in, then spending money on ads will just waste your money faster. You'd be better off burning pound notes to stay warm at night rather than throwing money at Google or Facebook ads and hoping that something works, that something sticks to the wall. There's so much more you can do before spending a penny on all these things. So do everything that you can that is free to do first. Now, let's move on to lesson number 13. In the beginning, I wasted so much time trying to figure out what marketing platform was the best. Should I be on LinkedIn? Should I be on YouTube? Should I use email? Should I be TikTokering? Should I be blogging? Should I be posting twice a day, once a week? I spent months watching tutorials and comparing features and posting absolutely nothing. Eventually, I realised none of that mattered at all because I wasn't showing up consistently anywhere. So I stopped obsessing over the right platform and started actually doing the work. And funny enough, that's when things finally started moving. We started to gain real traction and momentum in the marketplace. Not because I picked the magic platform or got the number of posts a day right, but because I was finally showing up. The more I did, the better I got, and the better the results we saw. I started posting, writing, emailing, publishing, even if it was messy or imperfect. Done is better than perfect. And the only way to get to perfect is to try and fail 100 or 1,000 times. So if you're only writing one blog post a month, it's going to take you a long time to get things slick and dialed in. Forcing yourself to write for 30 minutes a day or spending 10 minutes connecting with people on LinkedIn is really easy once you build it into your daily routine, and you can scale fast once you get started. Lesson number 13 is that consistency beats perfection every single time. You don't need to master every platform, you just need to start. Pick one thing, post something, get your reps in. That's how you build momentum. One top tip on this, by the way, if you're struggling to find 10 minutes to connect with people on LinkedIn each day, stop scrolling Instagram reels or TikTokers while you're sat on the loo and spend that time networking the shit out of yourself, literally. And yes, if you do get a reply from me on LinkedIn, you probably know what I'm up to when I'm replying. Lol. Now let's take a look at lesson 14. This one I see all the time. Drone operators saying things like, the market's too quiet right now, there's too many people fighting for the work with me, or I just need someone to give me a break, everything's too saturated. But when I ask what they've done to generate leads, to build trust with their ideal clients, or to get more people to know, like and trust them this month, I'm usually met with crickets. Here's the deal. If you're not out flying or inside working leads, you need to be creating content. If your phone's not ringing, if your inbox is dead, you should be making sure that your next lead knows that you exist. Write the post, record the video, practice your cold calls, showcase your work, share your story. If you're serious about getting hired, act like someone who deserves to be hired. And make sure that whenever a potential customer has a need for the solution that you provide, you're the one who's front of mind for them. And here's the hard truth that I know you don't want to hear. Until you're too busy to be creating content with actual paid work, you need to be creating the content that'll bring in the paid work. What you're doing here is work, and you get out what you put in. And all those people who failed before you, all those people that we hear about in the forums and listen to whinging on the Facebook groups who are giving up on the drone industry, I guarantee you, if I ask to see their calendar, to see the time they got set aside each day for content creation, the time they got set aside each day for things like cold outreach, the time they got set aside each day for things like lead nurturing, all I'd see is blank space. Once we made this shift in our business, everything changed. No more waiting, no more hope marketing. We created demand by showing up when others were sitting back and relaxing. And this is the exact method that I've walked thousands of other people through to over the years. It works every single time, but only if you're willing to trust in the process and commit the time, the energy, and the effort required to make it happen. Lesson number 14 is really simple. If you're not busy working, you better be busy marketing. No leads, that's not the industry's fault. That's on you. Stop waiting for work to come to you. Start working to be found. Next up, lesson 15. This is a tough one. Let's go. Okay, now let me be blunt. If you're not out flying and earning money, but you're also not creating content or reaching out to clients, then what are you actually doing? Because here's the thing, it's not about being busy, it's about what you're busy with. If your phone's not ringing and your inbox is empty, that's not just bad luck, that's bad planning. And no, you don't need to be a content creator or a social media expert. You just need to do something every single day that gets you in front of the people who can hire you. You need to keep putting one foot in front of the other over and over again so that you're always walking the path towards your goal. You just need to keep taking one bite out of the real jobs you need to get done that can shift the needle and help you start building your business. And here's the truth. I know it. I've been exactly where you are right now. If you're still watching me, watching this video, it can be massively overwhelming trying to look at everything that needs to be done. So break the big tasks down into small, bite-sized chunks. Don't try to eat the elephant all in one go. Set some smaller mini goals that you can get done quickly and just get started. The only way to eat the elephant, one bite at a time. Write that cold outreach email in ChatGPT now and send it to 5 potential customers before you go to bed tonight. Done. Once I stopped waiting to feel motivated, stopped watching the YouTube videos, ironic, and listening to the how-to podcast and just got started, everything changed. The content got better because I was doing the reps every single day. The leads increased. The pipeline filled up, not because I was brilliant, but because I was consistent. I built momentum, I built a following, and I built a business that I sold for a life-changing amount of money for my family and I. Lesson number 15 is this. If you're not working or creating, you're hiding. There is no secret strategy. There are no shortcuts. Just show up, do the work, and stop making excuses because nobody is coming to save you. You'll get out as much as you've put in. And if you put in a shitload of time, effort, and energy towards making this work in the right way, you will reap the rewards, outwork everybody, and no one will be able to bridge the gap you create between you and the competition. Taking a look now then at lesson number 16. When we first started getting traction, I thought we were flying high. Literally, things were really starting to take off. You see what I did there? Okay, I promise I'll stop. The jobs were coming in and the team and I were out filming. Invoices were going out and we were eventually getting paid. But behind the scenes, things were frantic. We were always in control and like a graceful swan, everything looked great on the surface, but underneath the waterline, we were paddling like crazy just to keep up. Even though I tried to get on top of things before we got busy, the truth is we just hadn't built the systems that we actually needed. For the first 12 months of our business, we had no clear lead generation plan. We had no consistent follow-up plan. We had no pipeline tracking. And every time that I was out flying, I was missing calls, we were losing leads, and we were scrambling to stay at the top of the inbox. We were running so fast that we didn't realise that we were actually just sprinting around in circles, burning time, burning energy and wasting opportunities. We generated more than £960,000 of revenue in our first 12 months of flying drones. But we almost lost it all because I hadn't put the solid foundations in place before we started to grow quickly. And that's when I realised we didn't actually need more leads, we needed a system. So I took a step back, I sat down and I mapped out the entire customer journey from first contact to closing the deal to delivering, following up and actually eventually re-engaging too. And that became the foundation that we could finally build a real business on. So lesson number 16 is this. Build your business before you get busy. If you don't have a system, the chaos will catch up with you and fast. Don't just work in your business, work on your business. Otherwise, you'll stall, burn out, or end up in the same feast and famine cycle that buries most drone startups. All right, with that one ticked off then, let's move on to lesson number 17. When I first started out, I didn't even have a calendar. I had random sticky notes plastered all over my desk and computer screen, alarms on my phone, scribbles on the back of receipts, and I was constantly juggling a million tasks in my head. Because of that, calls got missed, deadlines slipped through the cracks, and I was always reacting instead of executing. One day I remember I missed a call with a major client, and by the time I called back, the opportunity had gone. That one moment alone could have changed the entire trajectory of the business, all because I wasn't organised enough. So I forced myself to sit down. I set up a proper business calendar on a simple Google Calendar and treated it like gospel. Everything went in there. Outreach time, content creation time, admin time, billing, flying days, lead follow-ups. If it needed doing, it got a slot on the calendar. No excuses. If it wasn't on the calendar, it didn't exist. And if it wasn't important enough, if it didn't shift the needle, it didn't make it onto the calendar. I started running my days instead of letting them run me. Almost instantly, the pressure dropped. No more chaos. No more missed opportunities. I became way more productive, more confident. I became more in control of the business. And most importantly, the calendar became my execution engine. It kept me on track when things got busy, and it built the habits that helped us scale without burning out. So lesson number 17 is to get organised or get overwhelmed. If it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist. And if it's important enough to make it into the calendar, then block time out for it now. Because once you're flat out delivering and delighting your clients, it'll be too late. Organisation isn't just a productivity hack. It's the foundation of a scalable, sustainable business. Okay, next up, lesson number 18. We're almost there, folks. So as part of getting your calendar up and running, there's something else that most people miss, and it used to cost us leads every single week, trying to book meetings manually. You know how it goes. Are you free on Tuesday at 3 o'clock? No, what about Wednesday morning? Oh, I'm in the air on then, so how's Friday? And by the time you've agreed with a time and a date with a client, everything's gone cold and the momentum's been lost. Then someone gave me a game-changing tip, which seems so simple now. It's something that actually I think we've all become used to with things moving so much more online over the last few years. Just use an automated booking tool like Calendly or even Google Meet, tools that sync with your personal calendar so they know when you're actually free. You just need to set your availability, predefine the meeting types, and when you're in a conversation with a client or lead, you drop them your link and boom, they book instantly at a time that works for both of you. No faff, no missed opportunities. This one little tool did 3 huge things for me. Number 1, it made me look super professional because clients loved how slick and easy it was. Number 2, it saved me hours of back and forth messages. And in at number 3, best of all, it meant I never lost a hot lead because I couldn't nail down a convenient time with them. Honestly, this is one of the simplest and most effective business hacks that I've learned over the years, and one of the most valuable tips that I've passed on over the years too. So lesson number 18 is make booking with you effortless. If you're hard to schedule with, you're hard to hire. Use tools like Calendly to automate your availability and remove the friction from your funnel, because sometimes one click can be the difference between getting the job or losing it. The next lesson for us to dive on into is lesson number 19. When you're first starting out, it's tempting to say yes to every job that comes your way. You need the income, you're excited to get experience, and let's face it, you don't want to turn anyone away. But here's the truth. Some of those early yes jobs will become the biggest pain in the ass clients you'll ever deal with. I'm talking friends of friends who expect a deal, last minute unprepared customers who disappear when the invoice lands, clients who think they're doing you a favour by letting you work for them. I've been there too many times to count. We said yes to the wrong people and ended up underpaid, overworked and stressed out. So I made a decision. I would start qualifying clients just like they were qualifying me. We created a system, a short set of questions, expectations and boundaries. We looked for red flags like price shopping and vague briefs or just a quick favour jobs, and we focused on building our positioning so that we could attract the right clients instead. If people wanted to haggle with us on price or wanted to compare our quote to someone else's and asked if we'd be willing to beat it, our answer was always a simple no. Our price reflects our experience, ability, and the solution that we delivered. If people couldn't afford us, they weren't a good fit. And if people walked away from us because we were too expensive, what we found was that they often came back 5 or 6 weeks later asking what our price would be to do the job because they'd paid someone else less and not got what they'd hoped for. And our answer every time to that is that the price is exactly the same as it was the last time we spoke, except now it's cost you way more in time and money. The outcome for our business of all this, the results were instant. We got better clients, we got better jobs, and we had less stress. And most importantly, we kept our reputation and our integrity intact. That's why I do the same thing with my coaching in the community here. Not everybody gets in because I only want people who are coachable, committed, willing to learn, and ready to do the work, not people who are just looking for shortcuts. So lesson 19 is this: you don't have to work with everyone. You shouldn't work with everyone. Have standards, set boundaries, and build a business that you actually want to run with clients you actually want to serve. Because this is going to become your life for at least the next 3 to 5 years. And if that isn't for you, it's best that you realise that now, rather than when you're 12 months and thousands of pounds or dollars further down the line. So finally then, we're on to lesson 20, which has nothing to do with drones, but it might just save your business. Okay, this one's a bit different, and I'll warn you now, it's got nothing to do with drones, but it might be the single most important thing I've ever taught. When I look back at the thousands of drone pilots and entrepreneurs I've coached over the years, the single biggest thing that's held people back, it's not the regulations, it's not kit, it's not money, it's not competition. It's confidence. That invisible, powerful energy that lets you walk into a room, speak to a client, press publish on a video, and know that you belong there. When I first started out, I thought confidence was something that people were born with. But it isn't. I used to panic before giving presentations. I hated talking about money. I'd record 37 takes of a YouTube video and still not post it. But here's the thing that changed my life and my business forever. I realised that confidence is a skill. It's not magic. It's not about personality. It's not about being an extrovert or an introvert. It's a repeatable, buildable skill, just like flying, editing, or marketing. In fact, inside my Full Confidence Masterclass, I teach something called the 7 C's of Confidence. It's a step-by-step framework that I developed over the last decade that helps people go from hesitant to high-performing in business and life. But in this lesson here today, I want to give you the 3 fastest, most powerful things you can do right now that you can get on with today that will help you show up with more confidence. Number 1, confidence doesn't come first, competence does. The more you know your stuff, the more relaxed and credible you'll feel. Whether you're talking to a client, flying on site, or pitching your service. So, reps equals confidence. Want to feel more confident in how you pitch? Practice. Want to sound more confident in a discovery call? Run mock calls. Practice. Want to feel more confident flying in front of your clients? Get out there and practice and build your competence. Get good. Get calm, get confident. In at number 2 in the confidence piece then, confidence loves preparation. If you've got a networking event or a call or a flight, or you need to make a cold call, plan your approach, think it through, think about what you're going to say, write things down, have a script, have your questions ready for your networking event, whatever it might be. Practice answering and overcoming the objections that the prospect on the phone is likely to throw back at you. Know what you want to say and how you'll say it. Most people are nervous and lack confidence because, to be honest, they're winging it. They're making it up as they go along. They've not taken the time to prepare properly. Confidence really comes when you already know what's coming next. And finally, the 3rd part of becoming more confident today. Now, this one's a little bit deeper, but it's changed everything for me. Integrity. When you lead with integrity, you don't have to fake confidence. You just tell the truth. And that can be your truth. It doesn't have to be the truth. It just needs to be your truth, what you believe to be the truth. You don't need to remember what you said if you have genuine integrity, or worry about being found out for saying something wrong, because you're always being you. When I started genuinely showing up as myself a very, very long time ago, thankfully, when I was in the military, flaws and all, it was scary. But it was also real. And that's what hopefully makes me trustworthy. And when people trust you, they'll buy from you. So here's lesson number 20. Confidence isn't about being loud or perfect or fearless. It's about being competent, prepared, and real. If you're struggling to show up, if you're second guessing your value, if you're hesitating to put yourself out there, it's not because you're not good enough. It's because you haven't learned how to be confident yet. All right, that's it. Those are 20 of the biggest lessons I've learned building, scaling, and exiting multiple drone businesses over the last decade and a half. Now, here's the thing. Watching this video is one thing, but if you want to actually implement these lessons and you want to help doing it alongside other serious drone business owners, then make sure you're subscribed to the channel and join the free newsletter I send out. It's called The Collective. It's where I share the latest strategies, tools, and behind the scenes insights that you won't find on YouTube. Just hit the link down in the description, drop your email in, and keep an eye on your inbox. And remember that you don't have to build your drone business alone. Let's do this together and help each other learn, build, and grow. I'm Matt Williams, and until the next time, fly safe and blue skies.